And we are live. Hello, my name is Will Stradamus. You may remember me from always being right about the Arizona Cardinals. Joining me today, I've got my selves.
You're cutting out.
Joining me, I have my new headset that needs to be replaced.
We'll move on from Will. Yo, I'm Mac, and I'm an alcoholic. Oh, fuck. Wrong meeting. But you can find me on Twitter at AZSportsFien. That's FIEN.
And I'm Jackie. You can find me on Twitter at JSanDiego. That is with 2 O's. We are here to celebrate our 100th episode. We've been suffering long enough to make it to 100 episodes. So we thought, who better to join us than Mr. King McManus himself? Go ahead and take it away, brother.
Good morning. I'm not an alcoholic, but I'll pop a soda pop.
Yeah.
I'm just happy to be here.
Chug.
I'll chug it. Don't tempt me with a good time. I actually really like soda.
What's your Twitter handle?
Oh, King McManus. King_McManus, I believe.
And then we got the other man of the hour. We got... Come on, Joe.
Oh, me? Oh, hi.
Yeah,
Hi, I'm Joe, aka TCRK, the Cardinal Rule, JOKOMO13 at Twitter. And, you know, I'm kind of bougie, but not totally bougie. So I opened up wine, but it's cheap wine. So I'm drinking to y'all your 100th episode, and may you have 100 more, and then 100 more, and then 100 more, and just keep going until after I'm long dead. So congratulations, guys.
Everybody, cheers.
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 Cheers. We love it.
I'll drink this and crack a new one.
And let me just start out by saying that if it wasn't for Joe, we wouldn't have this beautiful new platform that we've been streaming on. We wouldn't be showing our faces. Probably would have just ended this a couple seasons ago. So I just want to say, thank you to you and all that you've done for this podcast. You kind of brought us out from the mud, and just all the gratitude in the world, and, sharing some of your viewers. We greatly appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys. That's very, very, it's nice to hear that. I'm glad you all are here. We need a voice like you guys, something fun, irreverent. It just adds to the landscape of Cardinals content creation. There's a lot of different voices. I kind of do the analytics stuff. We got other people who do things, different kinds of approaches, and y'all kind of got the Pat McAfee fun vibe going on. And I think the Cardinals content creation space is better with you guys in it than it is without. So,
Oh, thank you.
Don't make me cry.
We appreciate it. I know, right? Well, I guess we're gonna try to keep this fun, keep it fresh. But unfortunately, we thought we'd be talking about a dub, and that was not the case on Sunday. So I guess we'll just go around and just share some of our thoughts. Mac?
Yeah, I mean, it was an all-around poor performance. Then you see Marvin Harrison leave early, which is never a good sign. James Conner looked like he had a little bit of an injury as well. So, unfortunately, we're talking about a 34-13 loss from the Cardinals in Lambeau Field, which, probably shouldn't have been too much of a surprise with Jordan Love being healthy and having those receivers back that they had. They just kind of carved us up. But, I'm hopeful that the Cardinals players and coaches were embarrassed enough, kind of like after that Washington game, that they're going to come out and get a win on Monday Night Football against the Chargers. So, it's going to be a bumpy road this season, and, we're used to that by now. But we just got to keep our head on straight, 2-4. It was a tough stretch to start the season, and now, the Chargers are no gimme. But, playing them at home, and then the schedule kind of lightens up a little bit before the bye week. So really, really big game coming up this week because the NFC West is still up for grabs. But Will, what did you think? I know you're the one who predicted the L heading into the weekend.
I thought it was disgraceful. I thought that we came in with a clear lack of energy, and I thought that it really showed on the field. I thought we were disorganized. I thought we didn't really have a concise game plan. Drew Petzing hasn't proven himself to me yet. I thought it was just generally frustrating. I expected a bad game coming in because I saw the weather report. I saw the fact it was going to rain, and I know if there's anything the Cardinals are bad in, it's the rain and then cold weather. So, I mean, just going in knowing that, but still seeing that on the field was just very disappointing. Contrary to popular opinion, I don't want us to lose.
Oh, shocker.
but sometimes this team just makes it easy to feel like we are going to lose. I hope we can come in and win this upcoming week. I don't feel optimistic about it. I think this might be the Chargers' one home game for the year. But I'm hoping I'm wrong on all that.
What about you, Jordan?
Is there a way to plead the fifth on this one? I'm just kidding.
You're up, Joe.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was feeling relatively confident going into Sunday. Went out and spent the big bucks on some high quality pizza and wings.
From where?
I'm in Surprise, so there's this place called Lucky's, New York style. Yeah, it's pretty good. So that's my place. You catch me there whenever. I'm there all the time.
Good wings, though. That's the tipping point. If they got good wings.
Oh, they got great wings.
Okay.
Great wings. Yeah, yeah. But no, I mean, sitting down watching the game, it's like, for lack of a better word, it was just like, and sorry if this is too much, it's like they were edging us the whole time. Like,
No, brother, you can say whatever you want.
I don't cuss or say any bad stuff. I'm a little good Christian boy, but it's like they were
what
like
does
edging
edging
us the whole time.
What does edging mean for me and Joe? I mean, we're over.
Yeah, we're in this.
Jack,
Tell us.
Jack, you want to take this one?
Will.
I'm not the Gooner General over here. What are you talking about?
Basically, they made us like it's like they would get really. No, I don't even want to touch that. Anyways, the time you thought something good was going to happen, something bad happened, and they gave us a little hope there at the end of the half, and unfortunately, it just wasn't our day. So, but at the end of the day, it's always a good day when you get to root for the Cardinals. So that's how I look at it.
I like it. Oh.
What say you, Joe?
So, listen, all the criticisms have kind of been said, and I'm not going to pile on those. And kind of, I feel like kind of my place in the Cardinals Twitterverse is to be the let's talk people off of the ledge person. That's kind of what I do. So I'm going to try to give kind of the balance. Hey, here's the hopeful perspective, acknowledging that all those criticisms are valid, right? It was a bad game. It was ugly. It was. There were a lot of things to be frustrated about. Like two players played well, it seemed like, and that was about it. So this team is built with a young roster, right? They're building through the draft, which I fully endorse. I think that's the right way to build, especially when it comes to premium positions. You draft those premium positions early, you let them develop, take their lumps, right? And then you pay your own guys the big money when they become stars. Kind of like what we see with Trey McBride, right? We drafted him, he's become the guy, and we're going to pay him big money, and he's going to deserve it, and we're going to be happy to do that, rather than paying someone as a free agent who's 60% the player he is, except you're paying him 80% the money you'd be paying him, right? That's the whole deal. That's why you built to the draft, because players like that don't get to free agency very often. So you overpay for guys that are like C plus or B players when if you draft them, right? So I support that approach, but it's rough, right? Because you need those players. You got to let them take the lumps. And when they're young, you're going to lose some games. Now, the free agency approach, I agree with their process. The result hasn't been good. The process is bring in veterans to raise the floor who can start until the rookies take the jobs from them. Unfortunately, they've all been injured and played like shit, right? It's one of those things where I agree with their process. So where am I going with this? I'm sure you're wondering, and people wonder that when I talk all the time, where the hell is he going with this? But when you have a young roster, you get volatility of results because those players are talented, but they're not consistent yet, right? And so what happens is when you're leaning on so many young players like Max Melton and players like that, they're going to hopefully be really good in a year or two from now. They're the consistent stud players, but right now they're the potential talented guys who get exposed sometimes, right?
Right.
So this is what I think this is part of the reason why 1 week it's like, wow, they're hanging with the 49ers and win a gritty win on the road against a good team. Another week they get blown out by the Commanders, but then another week they blow out the Rams. I think that volatility, variability in results, and this game being ugly as it was, I think that's in part because a lot of their most talented players, especially on the defensive side of the ball, are young. And those young players are going to have ups and downs. And as they develop, then you get more consistency. So with such a young roster, we're going to have to get used to this. I think what's going to end up happening for the rest of the season is they're going to have games where like, we're back. Okay, they're getting it, right? And they beat someone we didn't expect them to beat. And then the next week they go and like lay a fucking turd against a team that they should have beat. We're going to have to get used to that this year because it's a young roster. But I still like the process. Get those young guys playing time, right? And then before you know, Paris Johnson Jr. developed into a bookend that we can rely on now. Trey McBride, Michael Wilson's shown some stuff. So we need Max Melton to take his lumps, and a year from now, he's going to be a guy we can rely on. Just like Garrett Williams looks like he's a guy we can rely on right now, right? So I'm taking it. It's part of the process. And a couple years from now, when we've drafted and developed our own guys who are really legit players and we're paying them, I think it's going to be a better place than if we had tried to bring in a bunch of free agents and overpay for guys who aren't quite as good.
Let me ask one thing real quick. Do you think Michael Bidwell has the patience for us to deal with our lumps, building the roster up that way? There's no doubt in my mind that there's nobody's jobs on the hot seat this year. Next year, I do feel like we need to show something. We need to stack up some wins, because at the end of the day, Michael Bidwell has not shown to be patient in any regard with any coaching staff that hasn't been able to win to start off, their coaching regime. So is that a worry to where Austin Fort's doing this I feel like it is the right way. He's not overspending in free agency, building through the draft capital. But is there a point where we should be worried about Michael Bidwell just, maybe halfway through next season if the wins aren't there, and bringing in someone else? Or have you seen another side of him to make you feel differently? That's my biggest concern right now.
That's a great question. And I definitely agree with you that no one's in the hot seat this year. I think next year is when results are expected. But here I think Michael Bidwell makes some mistakes, but he's not stupid. But he also has limited funds compared to some ownership groups, right? Like you think of like the Cronkies who own the Rams, who have all this money from their other businesses. And this is an ownership that has a legacy family ownership that doesn't have the same kind of resources as some of the other groups. And in fact, if you want to draw some criticism, like I know some people have been critical, they should have spent more money in free agency. I'm not as strong in that area because I like building in the draft, but I do think they haven't spent as much in free agency because Michael Bidwell has, in terms of the cash, like everyone has the same salary cap, but there's the cash and the bonus stuff and the cash over cap stuff comes into play. So I think I am coming back around to your question. I think he is going to be patient because I think he's approached this rebuild with this new regime in a sort of, okay, we're going to build through the draft and it might be a little rough, and we're not going to spend a lot in free agency because we don't have the liquid cash to do it like some other teams. And that's part of the reason they're not spending as much. It just so happens, I think, that's actually a smart way of building. But I think he understands that he's going to have to be a little more patient because they have spent a little bit on facilities and the whole thing, firing Kingsbury and everything. They took a little bit of a lump financially for that. So I think financially he's like, I got to kind of ride this out, right? So
that was the one theory I've heard from somebody that kind of stuck with me. They said it earlier in the year when I brought up the whole free agency, is that he's still paying off Kingsbury and who knows Kime. He could still be paying off Kime.
Nick L says Nick L says, "Can our next GM have hair?" I'm announcing my candidacy for the next GM job.
Brother,
Well,
from
yeah,
what I've
space
seen, you're going to be the
before
front runner in that race if that's the case.
And let it be known that Will did a face reveal before the show, so he
Will's
doesn't
got a
care about
cool
our
head.
viewers. Apparently, he just wants to.
He only cares about me.
Yep.
I want to make a note really quick. So I really like your point, because at the end of the day, like, you look at like some of the most successful teams in the league, and they're all drafting. Like, sure, there's a couple cases here and there. They're buying whatever. They got the money for it. Why not? But it's like, take a look at the Lions, dude.
Yep.
Like, holy crap. Their whole team they drafted. And it's like, and most of it came in one draft. Like, and that's insane. Like, 2021 was insane. Like, they really nailed the drafting process over the past few years. And that's why they're having all the success that they've had. You look at their team, there's like, sure, Jared Goff wasn't drafted there. Sure. But Jameson Williams was, Amon-Ra was, Penei Sewell.
And even the Chiefs. You look at the Chiefs, man. You think
Mhm.
powerhouse or whatever, and sure, a lot of it's Patrick Mahomes, but they've done the majority of their stuff through the draft, defensively even. But yeah, no, that's definitely a solid point.
Let me add two other franchises that have had maybe not top level success this year, but have had sustained success. The Steelers and the Ravens. Those are both franchises that for decades have built through good drafting. And like they have, like, those are teams that don't have bad seasons very often, right? Now it's been a while. It's been a minute since either won a Super Bowl, but they do have Super Bowls. But like those are teams that have built through the draft consistently for decades, and consistently those are teams that don't have very many really bad seasons. I mean, Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season, right?
Wow.
And he's a great coach. So it's
but-
part him, but also they've built a good roster over the years.
He's also gone like 8-8, like a occasional
Yeah.
like 12-5 in there.
No,
whatever,
the
you
stealing
know, like-
hasn't been great lately, but that kind of consistently doesn't
Yeah.
come without building a solid roster to keep that floor high, right?
And a patient ownership as well.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
huge.
Your
Jackie,
brother puts up a good point here. In 23 games,
Whose
our
brother?
offensive coordinator. That's your brother.
okay, I don't know. We could all have brothers on this show.
Jared!
Do you not see
Hi,
the
Derek.
comment on the screen, brother?
I am not. I'm looking up stats and
Oh,
shit right now on
no.
my computer.
Derek says 23 games as offensive coordinator. Petzing has only produced a single 100-yard receiving game from a wide receiver. Petzing got to have a hottest seat right now. Now, I will attack onto that and say that that is the Rams game. A lot of those big plays to Marv came off of broken plays. Kyler kind of scrambling around and finding a wide open Marvin Harrison. So nothing Petzing has schemed thus far has gotten Marv involved in the game, or really all of our wide receivers, to be honest. And it was kind of telling on Sunday when Marv goes out of the game and you're back to just, throwing it short to McBride to move the sticks. And that's when our offense was clicking, kind of what we were doing last year when Kyler came back. So I firmly believe that Drew Petzing as an offensive coordinator can't draw pass plays.
He
And I
needs to
think
show
we're
Which
more,
is so,
for
which
sure.
is so weird because he was a QB coach.
right, which is crazy.
I'll say this: like, I don't think any of like head coach, GM, like the big honchos are in trouble this year. But I do agree that if anyone's on the hot seat, it's going to be Petzing. Like
If anyone.
his offense just doesn't produce.
Another damning stat from this team. Kyler Murray, the last time he threw for more than 300 yards, I want you to guess the date.
William, I love you, brother. We got a timeout. Just hold on. I love you so much. I'm so sorry to do this. I just saw the most egregious comment of my life right now.
Okay.
Do you think taking Marvin Harrison Jr. over someone like Alt was the right choice?
Yes.
Brother, what? It's Marvin Harrison Jr. That's like saying, do the Minnesota Vikings regret taking Justin Jefferson? My brother in Christ, what are you smoking? Like, it's Marvin.
Well,
I
I
want to
would.
add to that, but I want Will to talk first.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, go for it. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I just couldn't let that slide.
Okay, so the last time Kyler had a game with more than 300 yards was 2 years ago against the Minnesota Vikings, 10-30-2022. That was the last time he had a game with more than 300 yards.
Now, mind you, he missed half a season, but still,
Yeah.
the point is still notable. Yeah.
Yeah.
And passing yards is down all over the league. You look, there's not a lot of guys throwing over 300 yards
Now,
consistently.
I do want to say with Kyler, with passing yards, we have to have a little bit of a different expectation because he's one of those quarterbacks who, because he runs and because the offense is a such a running first offense, you're gonna see a lot of games from him where it's like 250 yards and a couple touchdowns, but he runs for a touchdown and runs for another 60 yards. It's so, and he throughout his career, he's never had a 4,000 yard season. So yardage isn't the best measure for Kyler because in terms of passing yardage, because there's a lot of plays where he runs where someone else might have thrown or the team is running. So, I mean, it's, you want to see some 300-yard games, but you're not going to see as many with him, but you're still going to like that game against the Rams, which was like nearly perfect, wasn't a 300-yard game.
yards.
Right. So, anyway, yeah, I do want to, and the whole question, like I will say the question and the Marvin Harrison Jr. or neighbors, like the question about Marvin Harrison Jr. or someone like Alt's a great player, but we don't need a left tackle. And you don't want to draft a right tackle in the first round. So that particular player, I lose no sleep over the fact that we missed out on him. He's a great player, but we've got a great left tackle and we don't need another first round tackle. Just from, draft capital allocation perspective. Now, this is the question: Harrison or Neighbors, right? And they're in the draft process. There were a lot of people saying they were closer than people thought. I still like Harrison. I think he's going to be great. I'm not worried. I think it's more of a Petzing thing, what's going on right now. But it's one of those things where I feel like in the end, years from now, I don't think we're going to look back at it. I think it's going to be a little bit like AJ Green and Julio Jones. Like when you look at those two, they were both drafted first round and both ended up having great careers. And like, it's like, well, which one do you like? Well, they're both great, right? They're different types of players, but both put up Hall of Fame careers, right? And in their primes, both of them were really, really good.
All I'm going to say is that Dave Canales to the Cardinals notification is going to hit like 1980s South Central crack. It's going to be so fucking nice.
And I don't think the Joe Alt question is that crazy at all. I mean, yeah, Paris Johnson, who I thought did well at right tackle. So if you got Joe Alt, you potentially could have your bookend tackles solidified for a decade plus. But I mean, while the chemistry between Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison could be better from, most people's perspectives, at the end of the day, Marvin Harrison is still on pace for double-digit touchdowns, and that doesn't happen very often with rookie wide receivers. I hope that we don't rest our starters in the preseason anymore. When the Chiefs are playing theirs, there should be a little bit of significance in that, just to get the chemistry going, if nothing else, for a couple possessions. But I do have full belief in Marvin Harrison, and if we did pick Neighbors, the fan base would have just fucking, and I know there's no bearing to what they do through the draft with what the fans think or whatever, but I feel like each one of us, I bet about 80% of fans were dead set on Marvin Harrison. And to this point, the connection just hasn't been there, as he has a completion percentage when targeting Marvin Harrison under 50%, which is only going to go up. But hopefully we see Marvin back out there Monday night, and sooner or later we can kind of put all this conversation behind us.
Yeah, I think that. Oh, whoa! What happened to Jackie?
I don't know, but there she is.
There she is.
Apologies, I get all these stupid people calling me probably to get me to vote. So I put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I don't know. I couldn't hear what you guys were saying, but I do want to kind of add to the whole Joe Alt thing, because I had said it to Colby and to some people in the group chat. If you're wanting to do a run-heavy offense, you want your quarterback to stand in the pocket, you take Joe Alt. You don't take Marvin Harrison. So just drafting Marvin Harrison and not getting him more involved, getting him, drawing up plays for him is egregious. And as far as the whole Neighbors versus Marv thing, it would have been the same thing with Neighbors, not seeing the targets, maybe not being on the same page, and then on the opposite end, the Giants just force feeding Marv because that's all they've got.
I think like when you talk about your bookends, and I did a video a while back looking at kind of the Patriots' history drafting offensive linemen and trying to project what to expect from Monty Austinfort. And one of the things like that came out of that, for example, that's a staple on my on my live streams is that they don't take interior offensive linemen before the third round, right? And which Monty has not. That has borne out. But another thing is they'll take tackles anywhere kind of in the draft, but this isn't even exclusive to the Patriots' history with when Monty was there. But a lot of times, right tackles. Some teams, and I know Corey noted that, Jim Harbaugh, like that guy, he would draft offensive linemen in the first round every year. I think if the GM didn't, stop him from doing it, because that's Harbaugh. But you can get good right tackles like in rounds 3 through 5. You draft them and you develop them, and you don't need to draft those early. The left tackles you're going to want to get early and develop, but you can get your right tackles a little bit later. And I think that's Monty's philosophy. I think it's kind of value-based drafting. It's like you can draft a right tackle in the first round, but you can find one in the third or fourth round that's going to be pretty good and good enough, and use that first round pick for that edge rusher, that cornerback, that wide receiver. So I think it's opportunity cost, right? When you take that first round tackle, you are passing on a edge rusher, a Marvin Harrison Jr. And I think it's one of those things that you can find a right tackle you can win with on day 2 or 3. And I think that's why you're not going to see, I don't think we're going to see another tackle in the first round for a while, right? Yeah. With this regime.
Good points all around. What's up, Will?
My frustration is I look at this team and I see a team that can win this division. I think this division is weak enough this year and strange enough this year that if we assemble the right guys and we trade for the right people right now, we can potentially make a run at it. Will we make it anywhere in the playoffs? God, I don't even know. But you need that kind of momentum to get guys here and to get people interested in coming to the Cardinals. And I think that I'd rather have us be a one and done in the playoffs, but have people with eyes on us than not make it at all and have less momentum.
I think.
Yeah, you say that, and I wanted to go back to this comment. Shout out Nick L. Do we actually want this roster to go to the playoffs and get embarrassed again? And my answer is still yes. If we somehow manage enough willpower to get into the playoffs, I want these young guys to get a taste of it. Probably get their ass kicked so they can go into next season thinking I never want to make the playoffs to get my ass kicked again. Maybe light a little fire under that ass, and maybe it'll inspire Monty. Like let's maybe spend a little money. I know Joe brought up a good point that you want to have that extra money to extend the guys that are playing well, so they're not walking in free agency. But yeah, I would like to still see them in the playoffs if we can still get there. But I honestly think at this point, we've dug ourselves into a decent little hole. And I'm afraid that we're just going to go into the end of the season a little too, maybe get hot and it'd just be a little too late. And you're going to wish that you had that Bills game. You're going to wish you had that Lions game. So.
You're making me think of the Diamondbacks right now.
The thing with the Cardinals going into this offseason, granted, this could change if we extend Zaven and Buddha. We have $115 million of cap space right now. We have a lot to work on.
Yeah, we're good. We're already
sweet.
Good.
Yeah, duh. I completely forgot we extended them. Shit.
I love Zaven Collins.
But I mean, we have a fuck ton of money to work with, and it gets all the easier to not get stiffed and not get chimed if we go into the playoffs. We make some noise. We don't have to fucking win shit. We just have to show up. That's all you need to make that next step.
At the end of the day, though, like, I fully agree. Extend James Conner for sure. At the end of the day, though, when you look at this roster, like, I'm gonna take it back a year. Even last year, looking at the roster we had last year, like, sure, we only won a few games, but like every team was saying, wow, that they did not play like a 4-win team, you know? Like, we don't have big name players really. Like,
we left
sure,
it out. We left it out on the field every fucking game.
exactly. And I think that's kind of the issue. Like, we didn't necessarily go out there and go down and get out a bunch of like good players this offseason. Now we're like, all right, guys, here we go. You know, like, no, we had a solid draft. We brought in some solid vets. And we
And then
said,
we
all
did
right,
nothing
guys,
with the agency.
we're either going to make the wild card this year or we're going to go down swinging. But this is going to be that year where we're like, okay, this is what this team's really about. And I think that's what's frustrating for us, is because seeing the grit that we had last year compared to the improved talent that we have this year is like, yeah, we really should be fighting for a wild card spot. Not saying we're going to dominate everyone and just automatically get in, but like, I think that our expectations were more like, okay, we should at least be like around 500, like 500 flat right now, right? Like, we should be constantly competing, whereas instead we're getting blown out by the freaking Packers, you know, and the Commanders, and now we're just like, what the heck, you know?
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. Wait.
Yeah. So I think we don't talk enough about how much the BJ Ojulari and Darius Robinson injuries kind of derailed I think their plans. Because remember, I talked about they want to play the young players. And listen, I would rather play, if he were healthy, BJ Ojulari and Darius Robinson, and let those young players develop rather than signing a journeyman pass rusher who might get us 7 sacks, but is 32 years old and isn't part of the future. But so I think going into the offseason, the draft and everything, their plan was, okay, Ojulari, year 2, he was a second-round pick, showed us some promise. He's going to develop. We're going to draft another pass rusher who's going to be a little more from the interior, Robinson. And those 2 guys we're going to take our lumps with them, but they have potential. We're going to let them develop, get us some pass rush. Zaven will get maybe a few sacks. We'll get, the Barbarian. But that was their pass rush plan. It's not an elite pass rush plan. It's a developmental pass rush plan. But both of those guys getting injured just completely destroyed their hopes, I think, for the young pass rushers they were hoping were going to develop. And now what we've got is a team that doesn't have consistent pass rush, because we don't have – I love Gardeck, but he should be your second or third at best. Yeah. And we don't have – so we lost both those guys. And then pass rush, when you don't have it, it hurts your coverage. And I just think there's been a cascading effect of losing both those guys. And I just feel like probably one of the reasons we didn't see more pass rush in the draft help is because they thought both of those guys were going to be playing, and we lost both of them. And I think that is a bigger factor than we talk about. I think like their whole plan just went to shit, because those 2 guys got injured in terms of the defensive side of things.
I want to get back to this real quick.
We just need JJ Watt, guys. Let's be real.
Listen, if only anyone had a connection with him. And
you know what's crazy? Like, let's be real for a second. I love the Cardinals, and obviously I love JJ Watt. But like, I'm a little sad that I never got to meet him. I feel like that was sad.
Wait,
I wish I would have got to meet him.
King McManus, let's refill the fan base in, or the listeners in. What was, you went viral, right? That's
yes,
when we had you on. What refresh my memory, because that was what, 2 years ago now?
3.
Wow. Oh shit.
Redo the thing.
Yeah.
JJ Watt, you own my heart. Seriously, we could be best friends. They'll probably make a Hangover 4, and it'll be me, you, and Chan. We're trying to find Marcus Golden somewhere in Las Vegas.
Now it's gonna be you. It's gonna be you, JJ, and Marcus trying to find Chan in Vegas.
Yeah, well, no, now we really do have to find Chan in Vegas. I love you, Chandler. Hope you're doing well, buddy.
Yes, prayers and thoughts to Chandler Jones. But I want to get back to Corey's question, because he says, propose this question to others. Would Petsing benefit from going to the booth during games, or is that just a placebo thing? What do you guys think?
It's not a placebo thing. Would the Cardinals benefit from sending Petsing to the booth? I don't think it's a placebo effect. Now, at the end of the day, obviously, I haven't played in the NFL, but I did play football my whole life, and I've been around it. I got friends that are in the NFL. I got friends that are in coaching. Like I know what my fair share. So at the end of the day, it's kind of like, if you're not getting the job done, you got to find another way to do it, at least temporarily, till you get back on your feet. Like in baseball, when a batter's in a slump, they step up in the batter's box, step back. They find a way to get that contact again to get out of that slump. And that's kind of what I think coordinators need to do, is when it's not working out on the sidelines, or vice versa, if it's not working out in the booth, they need to switch and they need to see the game from a different perspective. And so I would be all for it. I mean, I just want success for Petzing and this team. But I mean, at the end of the day, if it's not working out on the sidelines, and maybe he needs to go up to the booth, and maybe that would give him a different perspective of the game.
I mean, my answer is pretty simple. I think he just needs to diversify his game plan. I think he's become predictable. I think he's become stale. I've seen too many screen passes, too many cutesy little outside runs with Connor. I mean, Connor's the guy who should be beating you up the middle for 3 to 4 yards every other play. I mean, getting cute with the outside stretch plays, it's not really his forte. I don't know why he's so insistent on running those outside stretches.
And for the love of God, if it is 3rd and 1, why are we in shotgun? I hate that play call. It never works. It does not work. It works for some people. It doesn't work for this team. But personally, just get this Cleveland shit out of here. And then that's what Petzing's doing at the end of the day. Let's just call it what it is. It's some Cleveland bullshit. It might have worked when you had a broken Baker Mayfield, when you had the corpse of Deshaun Watson as your quarterback. But we've got a quarterback that is a threat on his legs, and if he's feeling it, he's got a nice deep ball. We haven't seen it. Maybe it just hasn't been there because of this new coaching change. But we got to get fucking creative with the shit, because I am tired of just let's run, screen pass, maybe hit Trey McBride, broken play, I find someone downfield. It's predictable. I hate it. We're wasting a lot of people's time and talent with this offense. This offense should not be putting up shit like it's doing week after week. I don't know if you guys could tell, but now I'm getting now that I'm sitting on this.
I love you, Jackie. I love you, Jackie.
I honestly don't know how much going up in the booth would help. Maybe it will. I feel like if that's going to happen, it'd be after the bye week. My biggest, other than it seems like the route concepts are kind of similar, feels like Cliff Kingsbury-esque. You're not getting a lot of guys open. You're not scheming to get a lot of guys open. But my biggest gripe right now is still we're not seeing running plays called for Kyler Murray. A lot of the stuff feels like it's out of the breakdown. Something breaks down, and then Kyler just has to use his legs. This team isn't good enough. Kyler Murray as a pocket passer isn't good enough to just sit back there and have him use his arm. Or wide receivers aren't good enough. I'm sorry. I still haven't seen enough from Michael Wilson. Greg Dortch is averaging less than 30 yards a game. That's not going to cut it. Zay Jones will help a little bit. He had a big season 2 years ago. But we need Kyler Murray to break down the defenses with his legs early and often, in my opinion. Are they afraid of him to get hit? Probably. Is he not clamoring for it because he's still coming off his ACL injury? I have no idea. I have no idea. But for the Cardinals to get to the best game plan that they need to be at, Kyler Murray has to be effective with his legs. Otherwise, this offensive roster, is not good enough, especially when you have offensive linemen going down left and right. I'm sorry. It's just what I have seen so far. I don't know if going up into the booth is going to make that much of a difference, rather than completely shifting your mindset from what you are right now. You're a ground and pound team without your biggest offensive weapon using his biggest offensive whatever the fuck you want to say, his legs. Kyler Murray needs to run. He needs to run. If he doesn't want to run, that's one thing. But let it be known, man, this offense isn't going to go where it's going to go with Kyler rushing 3 to 4 times a game. It's just not.
And I mean, the big thing that goes understated about Kyler Murray's running is just how much of a tone setter it is.
Oh, and he still leads the league in fucking
for sure.
Yeah,
but I mean, like watching that Niners game, I mean, him showing up and doing that 50-yard run, I mean, that set the tone for the game. That showed that we weren't just there to lie down and die.
Right, and that
I
makes
think
that whole defense fucking wake up. Like, whoa, okay, it opens everything up.
it opens everything up. It exhausts the defense. It does so much to help us win games, and the fact that we are resistant to using it in any way is so frustrating to me. Cliff Kingsbury got more out of Kyler Murray's legs than than Petzing is.
Well,
How
I
wild
mean,
is that?
at the end of the day, when you look at it, like honestly, you could say any successful team, but I'm going to go like even Super Bowl champs. Look at all the Super Bowl champs in the past 10 years, if you want, 5 years. I don't care. Pick a time frame. I'm still going to be right. At the end of the day, there was a running game there every time. Even the Chiefs, they always have a running game. And that's the whole point. You have to have a running game to open up that play action, to open up the deep ball. And it from time and time and again, you could always see the teams that don't have a good running game don't win.
Yeah.
And we have the perfect opportunity. We have the perfect offense for a running game. We got James Conner, who will punch you in the mouth every time you get near him. We got Trey Benson from FSU. Like, we got Kyler. We have the ability to abuse people. And then right when they're starting to get into it, Kyler's got a deep arm. Like, he can send that straight to Marvin on a play action. And I'm going to say this to your point really quick, Mac. That run on William. That run against the 49ers, dude, I stopped everything I was doing. I watched that play and I was like, did I see that right? And I went up and I paused the TV and I said, honey, come look at this. I brought her in from the other room and I rewinded it. And I said, honey, you see that? He put his finger up at the 43-yard line and said, I got it. Don't worry, guys. I got it. 43 yards out. There's literally 4 dudes next to him. And he literally had the audacity to say, I got this, boys. Go.
And honestly, look at the Steelers right now. Do you think the Steelers are 4-2 if Justin Fields is primarily a pocket passer? Fuck no. Watch their games. He's running every fucking 5th play. He's breaking down defenses, man.
His touchdown
interception. That's what the Cardinals. The Steelers coaching staff seems to be able to smart enough to know that this is their biggest advantage is Justin Fields on offense using his legs. Joe, I haven't heard you in a minute. What do you think can help? You think it's the booth? Can Petzing go up to the booth, or do you think there's something else? I know that there's no right answer. We're all frustrated at the end of the day. But.
I don't think being on the sideline is the problem per se. I do think it's some of the route concepts and some of the things he's doing. I know Kurt Warner tweeted out something about that. A lot of people have talked about some of the things about the offense. I do think going to the booth is worth a shot because if nothing else, you get a broader view of what's going on the field, and maybe just that difference in perspective might affect differences in terms of his ability to see what the defense is doing schematically. So it's worth a shot. But I think the bigger problem is more the play design. And there was someone talked about there's a difference between sequencing and play design. Sequencing is which plays you call when. And Jackie's point about the 3rd and 1 under shotgun, that's a sequencing. You called the wrong play at that situation. But there's also the play design, that what happens in the week leading up to it and the design of your offense overall leading up to this season. And it seems like there's something about that design that isn't optimizing our tools. If I want to kind of throw in there that little bit of, talk off the ledge, Petzing's a first-time offensive coordinator. He's a smart guy. He's doing some nice things in the run game in terms of his play design. There's the hope that maybe he gets better, so that's what you hope for. But something has to change, whether it is him getting better, him learning from his mistakes and designing, developing, and calling different plays, or there being a different offensive coordinator next year. Something has to change.
That was a good question. Thank you, Corey.
Yeah, shout out Corey. Great episode, by the way. I listened to your Cardinalytics podcast while I was working earlier. It gives me a little inspiration when I do this show. So if you guys want to check that out too, shout out to To all the content creators, big or
And,
small.
and you know what? Shout out to everybody who fucking listens to this show week in, week out. Shout out to my boy, Juan. He's been showing out every fucking week for the past few years. Love you,
Years.
man. Years. OG.
Yeah, and we've been talking honestly. We want to get other past guests on. So Corey, gear up. We're gonna want you on here sometime this season. And then we also want to start. I know Jackie. I think Jackie or Will brought it up. How we kind of want to do like a 1 minute segment with like the listeners. Be able
Call
to
in.
voice your grievances, voice your pleasure, displeasure. So there are some things that we have in the books that we want to do. But shout out to Corey. Corey was on here last year, I believe. Where does he reside? I want to say Georgia, Baltimore.
Yep,
That's
Baltimore.
right, Baltimore. So yeah, I mean, Cardinals fans are all over the world, man. So if you're somewhere right now and not Phoenix, or just even if you are in Phoenix, and if you want to tell us your story of how you became a Cardinal fan, let us know, man, because we love hearing that. We love trying to spread the word of the Birdgang and how you became part of it, how you became miserable like us. That's what we want to know.
That's what's even crazy is like a majority of the Cardinals fans I've met all like on Twitter and in the group chats and everything was like everybody's in a different part of the country and in the world. I've got some of my closest friends that I've met on Twitter that are in the UK and Germany. So I just think it's cool. We had the homie Jason, no context cards. We had him on like a couple years ago. That was a fun episode. I had just given birth. So like I'm holding my newborn baby. We're just chopping it up. That was such a good one. I believe he resides in Ireland. So if we can get him back on too. But yes,
what about that dude from Australia?
We need somebody from Australia.
Jono, right? That's his name?
We'll have to hit him up.
What Australian Birdgang or something down under?
But his name on Twitter is Jono, Johnno. He's so real,
Germany,
dude. I love that guy.
No.
Have you guys had Kevin Murray on from the UK?
No, but we spoke during the off season. He was cool.
He is a great dude. There's so many. I live in Georgia, even though I'm originally from Arizona. My career brought me here, but yeah, I mean, there's so many great content creators and fans all across the country and around the world. And like, as someone like the Cardinals are part of my heart because I'm from Arizona. It's part of my identity. And like, it just always like, I feel emotionally moved when someone who is not from Arizona loves this team.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It feels something about that feels really kind of cool.
Yeah. They didn't jump on no bandwagon unless they were,
Yeah, there's no bandwagons with this team.
Super Bowl or something. Yeah, exactly. No, I agree 100%.
How sad is it?
That's a badass T-shirt you got on there. Where did you get that from?
Oh, you can thank Colby, Mr. Season ticket holder. So, and my dad's a season ticket holder too. He doesn't get how like the points work, but like for every year you've been a season ticket holder, you get points.
So that's at the team shop right now.
No, so they're exclusives.
Okay.
I don't want to show you guys my closet because it's dirty. But I have a really nice sweatshirt, zip up that only season ticket holders get. Nice. So I have one. Colby has one, so we wear it to the games. But this was something that he got for me from his points.
Excuse me, I'm a season ticket holder. Where do I get such sweatshirts? Because I have not gotten a sweatshirt, and I would love a sweatshirt. So where do I get a sweatshirt?
It's like I don't even know how to describe it.
Is it the loyalty thing that you're talking about? Because I was told they took that away this year.
Cole, type in the comments. How does he? Hold on. Let me get my sweatshirt.
Let me see your dirty closet.
So, Kevin, Joe, he runs the shows with you sometimes, right?
Yeah, he's on with me sometimes.
Okay, I didn't know he was UK. I had no idea he was UK.
I would love that.
Have you not listened to him talk?
I have, but I've probably been a few marijuana.
Jackie, I need you to send me a picture of that because I need to get with my rep.
That is a dirty jersey.
I need to get with my rep and say, "Yo, dog, where's my shirt?"
You want to see something cool too?
Wow.
Hold on. This you can buy at this was available at the team shop too.
Oh man,
nice.
Oh.
I gotta show you some.
That's clean.
I gotta show
Holy
you some.
fuck.
How do I turn my camera off real quick?
Oh,
I don't want to stand
not
up and y'all
wearing
see my thick thighs.
Oh, stop.
Nah, screw it. I'll be right back.
No, I have heard Kevin speak, but never once in my mind have I been like, "Oh, he's from the UK." Fuck.
Yeah,
You know?
he has the Let's Talk Cardinals podcast. That's
All right, I'm back.
Oh,
So
nice.
check out how depressing this is.
Ooh.
Game worn jersey.
Thomas.
This was like one of my prized possessions.
Game
Game worn
worn?
jersey, and then he gets traded.
I was gonna say, game worn. Are there any stains on there?
No, this is from his rookie year, so
Okay.
he didn't really play.
Yeah.
But it is a game worn jersey.
That's dope.
So I thought that was dope, and then he got traded, and so now, it's there.
Why was my first thought Logan Thomas?
Logan Thomas.
Do you
man.
remember like the only pass that dude ever
Yes.
completed with
Yeah.
us was
It was a
against the
touchdown.
Broncos to Andre Ellington for 80 yards?
Yes.
I was like,
Like-
"Holy fuck! What a
He
dime!
was
He got
him.
that in there somehow."
That was crazy. Like how he got. I remember that play vividly.
I was like, "What?" The
Because
truth?
you remember that we were all like, okay, this is going to
Yeah.
be our quarterback for the future.
Yeah.
Carson Palmer's getting old. This is going to be our guy. He comes
then
in and
turned out to
drops
be a
a
tight end.
dime on his like first throw,
And then
80
never
yards to the
again.
house, and then proceeds to miss every pass for like the rest of
And
the
he's,
Well,
and
just
he's
like Josh Rosen. He had that bomb to Christian Kirk against the Niners. I'm like, QB1 is here. No.
Yep.
Such is life.
Logan Thomas. What a
I
guy.
love being a Cardinal fan, huh?
Great
Really?
tight end.
Andre
Joe.
Ellington needs more respect, man.
Joe, I'm sure a lot of people here are fans of your coverage already, but just give everyone a heads up. When do you air? When do you record? How can people find you? Because you are the best in the game at this stuff right now. So
Thank you. That's very kind. I'm on the Cardinal Rule at YouTube. Right now I'm more kind of doing a weekly live stream looking at the PFF grades, usually on Tuesday nights. It might switch some at some point during the season because of some scheduling stuff, but I'm typically doing one live stream a week doing that, and then in the off season I do some stuff leading up to the draft, mock draft Mondays and stuff. Then obviously follow me on Twitter at JOKOMO13.
yeah, do it. You'll if you're a Cardinal fan and you aren't, I don't know where you've been.
If you want good analysis, big brain stuff here, that's not just objective.
Emotional, yeah, that's just not emotional shit. Correct. Yep.
I don't know who you're
Someone's
calling
got to
emotional.
do it.
Exactly.
I don't know who you're
Somebody's
calling
gonna do it.
emotional, but it's not me, Mac. Okay.
I was talking to
definitely
the
don't
lady.
cry.
Jeez.
Whoa,
definitely
hey.
don't
Hey,
cry.
Hey, wait, did you just go there?
Hey, me and Jackie go way back. When me
Yeah.
and Will came into town, we went to the Texans game. How many years ago is that now?
I was
That was
pregnant.
3 years ago. We met at
I
that
was
game.
pregnant.
3 years? Oh, holy shit. Me and Will, that's the first time I met Will. That's the first time we met
It was not
Jackie.
the first time you met
And
me.
that's not the first time I met you?
It was the second time.
No, you guys went to a Suns game.
Clearly, it was memorable the first time you met
When
him.
was the first time?
The Suns Jazz game in 2020.
Oh, you're
Or 20
right.
One.
We
21.
will go way back. We go
Mac,
way
Mac,
back.
were you drunk the first time you guys met?
His
Not
dad
yet.
was there with his little brother, so I tried to be on my best behavior, but that was
Okay.
fun. Yeah.
Dude, Mac was straight hammered when I met him, bro. His breath, I could still smell it. Like I'm like, where you going? He's like,
But yeah, so we met McManus, we met Jordan, and God damn it, what Jackie? I was
Andrew
gonna-
Pardue.
And
we-
Andrew
we
Pardue
had him
after
on
the game.
podcast.
Oh yeah,
Holy
yeah.
that was
He's in
amazing.
Cleveland now.
And let's let it be known, Jackie's never been to a game since that they've won. That was the last game they won.
So
And that
clearly,
was-
I'm somehow.
She'll
the
be
good
there
luck charm.
Monday, folks. She'll be
I
there
will be to
Monday.
the next 3, so
Oh fuck.
we're going 0-3.
I was supposed to go to the Chargers game, but I gave them to a friend of mine because they had never been to a game before.
Nice.
So, but I'll be there for the Bears game though.
Humanitarian
I'll be there for the Bears
Jordan.
game, too.
Follow him. King
I will say the last two games that I've been to, the last two Cardinals games I've been to, we've won. All I'm gonna say.
Because you
Where
go
were
to the
they?
Panthers games, dude.
He's like 2007.
You know,
The Panthers
all
of
the
Part
Panthers
8.
games.
Ironically enough,
The
that
last
was
game
my
he
first
at
game.
was an aught. The aught something.
That was my first game ever. Was 2013 against the Panthers, and that was the game Daryl Washington came back. We were wearing black jerseys.
Yeah.
He got a pick. Patrick Peterson got a pick.
when?
It was a sick game. 2013.
Okay,
Yeah, we
I
played
thought you
the
said
Panthers, of course
2019.
we
I was
won.
like, what the fuck? When
Yeah,
did that-
yeah, we
when
played
this?
them, and we whooped on them.
Except for
We
the
whooped on them.
playoffs, we beat their ass. So yeah.
Yeah, except for the playoffs. Yeah.
Nothing so late, but yeah.
So I want to go around and I want to start with William because he is the youngest of all of us. Will, it's been a shorter time for you, brother. What is your favorite memory of the Cardinals that you have?
Favorite memory of the Cardinals? I've got a couple.
Okay.
Being, I know this is so dumb because we sucked ass, but the last time I saw us win in Carolina, the only time I saw us win in Carolina, I had good ass seats. We had a good ass comeback. It was a beautiful
Great
game.
parking. You were right up front at the Carolina Stadium. You were right there.
I was doing pretty well. My other favorite, and this is kind of a curveball. This is a moment that I don't think gets talked about enough. 2008, the Cowboys game, the blocked punt. Oh
Yep.
my god,
Broken leg.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
fucking.
I was
Was
there.
that
Terrible.
Christmas? Was that Christmas Day?
No,
Yeah.
that was
No, that was a couple years later.
2008
I
versus
think.
the Cowboys. No, the blocked punt, not the punt return, the blocked punt.
Okay, I know we played
Oh.
Dallas on Christmas Day one
Yeah,
year.
we've owned Dallas for a minute, especially. Anyways, go on. Sorry.
But yeah, just watching that in the moment, like I mean, I think I still had Redzone at that point. We had Dish, so we never got to watch Cardinals games. We watched the last couple of minutes of that because it was on, and it was, oh my god, I was living. That was a great game.
You sound like you're just having the time
Jerking
of
it
your life.
right
thinking-
now.
Yeah, I know. I didn't want to say it.
Left-handed. He's going left. He's like, yeah, that fucking. Ooh.
Yeah, no, he went like full like spiritual there, dude. That was great. He's like,
Listen, man,
oh,
a good fucking
good
football
time.
game. will do that for you.
Oh
I
my
was
God,
eating-
this game.
oh.
I'll show you guys game.
Uh-oh.
No, you
Fuck
won't.
that game, dude. If you're listening right now, I wish you could see Will, like what Will looks like in person, because you'll look at Will and be like, this guy fucks.
He's a pimp.
I'm just
He's
saying,
a
if Will
fan.
shows the
Yeah,
crowd his
please.
face, we'll win on Sunday. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Macaroni. Favorite memory is the Cardinals.
Well,
Or
then I'd
Cardinal
be
fan.
wrong. I wouldn't be Wilstradamus anymore.
I appreciate you insinuating I'm the second youngest here, so thank you. I really do appreciate
I'm just bouncing around, dude, because
Okay.
I think Big Manus is the second youngest. I'm old.
I was born
We
in
all knew who
98.
the oldest person here, so you don't even have to pretend.
Yeah, I was born in 98.
You know,
Yeah.
I got season tickets when the Cardinals first moved into their new stadium. I just turned, I guess I would have been 21 at the time. So, I got it, me, my brother, and my dad. And that was, looking back on it, those are some of the best times, even though I was a raging alcoholic and my dad hated going to games with me because I would fucking lay down the fucking hammer on visiting fans in our section, and my brother can attest to it. Many times he had to do some pass blocking moves on opposing fans, and but just looking back on that, those are special times that the Cardinals community was really built. When they were at Sun Devil Stadium, there was no real community. There was no there were always the diehards, but there was never that sense of like real fandom. And having season tickets when we went to the Super Bowl, that playoff run was special. That was something that I always hold dear to my heart. The away games, we had tons of family and friends over at my parents, and my dad passed this year. So just thinking on that alone gets me emotional, but just being there in the moment, with family and friends and seeing the most significant run we've ever had. Like, I feel bad for young Cardinal fans who've never had that, and just to be able to be there, spend that with my dad, spend that with my nephews and my brothers. And those are the memories that, why I will be a Cardinals fan forever. Seeing them go from basically a pro team playing in a college stadium, getting mocked on all the time, to see them into the big boy in town, and we're all hoping that we can see a consistent run. It was really good during the Bruce Arians era. But we strive for so much more than, the lack of playoff victories that we've all experienced. It's, but just going back to your point, it's spending time with the family, watching the games in 08 was as special as it got for me. And that's something that, will always be near and dear to my heart.
I want to build off that. I was going to go around the room and go last. The first thing that comes to mind is, maybe what Juan said, the strip sack against Rodgers in the playoffs, or the Hail Larry, the Hail Murray, things like that. But really thinking about it, when I met you guys, I was there with my dad, and I had said too, like, FYI, my dad just lost his significant other, so he was a little bummed. So that year was a very emotional year for all of us. He was also
and your dad was going
cancer.
through the same similar stuff that my dad
she
went
had
through.
cancer.
Yeah,
he had cancer, and I was pregnant. And I remember before I planned my whole coming out to Arizona, my baby shower, around that Cardinals game. So that was cool to see a win and be hanging out with my dad. And I'm 7 months pregnant at the time. And my dad lived across
just
the street.
getting drunk, double fisting. I saw Jack. I'm like,
no. So I'm 7 months pregnant.
Kidding, I love you.
After the game, we go to a bar, and my dad jokingly orders me an O'Doul's. He's like, it's not alcoholic, you can drink it, but he was walking to the game because he lived across the street on the other side of Glendale, which is still, if you know the area and the stadium, that's a pretty far walk still. So we're walking back to his apartment, and I only make it halfway, and I'm my legs are super swollen, my feet hurt, I'm huffing and puffing. So my dad's trying to wave down a taxi, and they're like, oh, we gotta take you across the street. No, that's too close. Absolutely not, absolutely not. So finally, he gets the attention of one guy, and all the other taxis that turned us down are still there, and they can hear us. And my dad's like, $200, take us across the street. And the dude's like, all right, fine with me. So takes us across the street. My dad gets his vehicle, and he's driving me back to our hotel, the hotel I was staying at the time, because I flew out here from Virginia. I was living in Virginia. I came out here for the game. And I remember my dad's when you give birth, you call, when you're about to give birth, call me. I want to be there. And I was just thinking man, I can't wait for when my kid's old enough and I get to send her to Cardinals games with Grandpa, because that's been mine and his thing for the past 10 years that we've been in these seats now. And then growing up when we had season tickets back then at Sun Devil, me and dad type of thing. And so it's always been a me and dad type of thing, watching the games. Thank God he beat cancer, and I'm sorry, Mac, for your loss. And just and that's at the end of the day, win or lose, this is what this shit's all about, is family, and where you grow to love football. So that's my favorite memory, is just realizing I'm about to make this big life change, about to be a mom, and then now I get to raise the next generation of Cardinal fan, that I can share my love of the team with her, and continue to share the love of the team with Grandpa. So
and I have a 1 month-old little girl, so I hope that
congratulations,
one day,
brother.
Thank you. And I hope that one day she's able to say to herself or her friends that her biggest enjoyment about Cardinals games was being there with her dad. So thank you for sharing.
Yeah. All right, McManus. It doesn't have to be all sappy and want to cry.
I know.
Sorry.
Let's go.
This is a tough act to follow.
No, we're good.
Well, first of all, if you ever make me cry again. I will fight you. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, that's kind of hard. My favorite or game or memory. Like, there's so many games I can whip out. The Carlos Dansby touchdown. There's the oh my gosh, the playoff game against the Packers, the Falcons game where Larry went off in the playoffs. Like, there's a lot to kind of go back on. I don't know if this is my favorite game, but this is one of my most fondest memories. And you guys definitely don't know this, but during COVID, during the pandemic, I worked at a level 1 trauma center hospital. And so I was in the thick of it. Everything you were seeing on the news was happening at my hospital. So it was hard. We all had a really hard time. I saw a lot while I was there. Unfortunately, people pass away, and just the worst of the worst. And it was a dark time. And the Cardinals were a feisty team. And I remember one day, I was watching the game, and I was like, we're going to lose. This is going to suck, because we're going to play the Bills. And we're getting, like, the Bills are, like, really taking us out, honestly. And then we just somehow start coming, like, you know what I mean? And then it's like, next thing you know, the end of the game, it's like, what, we got to throw a Hail Mary, like, this ain't gonna work. And I'm literally like late to work at this moment. My shift starts in 10 minutes. Now, granted, I was pretty close to work. Like, it takes me 2 minutes to get there, but still, I typically like get there like 30 minutes early. So I'm late to work at this point. I'm sitting at the edge of my bed. I'm on the floor, just like staring at the TV. And, it's like, Murray, 7 seconds, 6 seconds, like, blah, 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 whatever. Heaves it downfield. It's caught, touched. I'm like, no, like, what? Like, that was just like the craziest thing ever to witness the Hail Murray during COVID. And it's just like, I get to work and like everyone's happy. No one's really focused on like COVID, and it's like, we're all just having fun in the break room. We're watching the highlights and on TV. Like, that was a pretty cool moment. And obviously that's all we talked about for the rest of the day. It's like, you come back and you make one of the craziest plays ever.
Oh, yeah.
One of the darkest times. Everyone's just down in the dumps mentally.
Sunday Night Football?
No, I don't think so. No, I think it was just a late game on Sunday. Yeah, but I would say that's one of my more fond memories. And then I would say the Larry Fitzgerald Packers game is up there too, because that was just insane.
That was fucking dope.
Yeah.
All right, Joe. We saved the best for last.
Gather around while Uncle Joe spins a yarn.
Break out your guitar.
Yeah, right. The year was 1996. I know at least 3 of you weren't born yet. Mac, were you born by then?
Oh, I was born. Fuck yeah, I was 10 years old at that time.
I was 2.
You were? You were 2?
I was 2. I was born
There's
in
no
94.
fucking way you're that old, Jackie.
I'm 30. A bitch is old, okay?
All right. Well, 2 of you were not born yet. And the rest of you weren't old enough to remember this, okay? The year was 1996. I'm old as dirt. I'm old enough that I remember when the Cardinals moved to Arizona in '88, and they had never made the playoffs, right? And they hadn't had any good quarterback play, really. I mean, you had Gary Hogaboom. You had like guys like this, like Tim Rosenbaugh. Look them up if you want to feel better about our.
I've never heard of Gary what was that name?
Hogaboom. Yeah.
In Arizona?
Yeah, I think so. But now Neil Lomax was with them when they came here, but the team was not good when they came here, and they didn't make the playoffs, as you know, till 1998 after moving here. Yep. But the year was 1996. Been a Cardinals fan. Cardinals had been here for 8 years, and all of a sudden, Arizona State University Sun Devils had this quarterback. Well, he had been playing for a few years. Who was really exciting. A guy named Jake Plummer. Yeah, and the Sun Devils had a really great season, and Plummer was kind of this local hero. He had already built some momentum. People loved Jake Plummer. It was exciting. And then they make it to the Rose Bowl, played on January 1st, 1997. They lose in the Rose Bowl, but the legend of Jake Plummer had already begun, right? You know where I'm going, Johnny. Johnny's old like me. Well, not quite like. Well, I think he is close. Johnny remembers. 1997,
No,
January
Johnny's
1st.
a spry young man.
Yeah, there we go. January 1st, 1997, they're in the Rose Bowl. They lose. But Jake Plummer's already this sort of burgeoning legend in the Valley.
Yeah.
And then the Cardinals draft him in the second round. And you're like, this is our guy. This is our destiny. We've got our quarterback of the future. And there's already an energy around him, right? His legend has already been started to burgeon, to bloom. So they draft him, and there's so much excitement about him. And his play style ends up being exciting. Jake the Snake, come from behind. Now, he threw a lot of interceptions. He in fact, for his career, he had 161 touchdowns, 161 interceptions, led the league in interceptions twice. So in retrospect, he wasn't the greatest NFL quarterback, but at the time it was exciting. And then his second year, they make the playoffs for the first time, right? So this is exciting. You're a Cardinals fan. They finally make the playoffs for the first time with this quarterback who played college here. Like, if you didn't live it, you don't understand how like exciting that was.
Oh, yeah.
And then they beat the motherfucking Cowboys. I hate the Dallas Cowboys. Yes, they beat the Cowboys, okay? So I remember that, like, on the radio stations and the news and stuff, they're saying, hey, the Cardinals, they're flying back from Dallas. If you go down to Sky Harbor Airport, if you go to this one lot, they told us where to go. They're going to pull the plane up and stuff. Yes, you've got it right there.
I've got it.
So I went out to this open lot with however many thousands of my closest friends, right? I was in that crowd that was there when they flew back and they kind of taxied the plane up. They had a kind of a day set up, and they got out, and the coaches and the players and the owner, they all kind of addressed the crowd. I even think like John McCain, I think, was there, you know, 'cause Arizona, right? You know, like just they addressed the crowd, and it was exciting. And yeah, Johnny, why do you got it rain on?
Come
us?
on,
But you're right. Yeah, they lost to the Randy Moss, Randall Cunningham Vikings, but they beat first playoff. Jake Plummer is exciting. In the moment, it was exciting, and they beat the Cowboys. And I got to be out there in the crowd of people when the team came back, and it was just this really exciting moment that I'll never forget.
And that's like David and Goliath. You know, that matchup was David and Goliath. You know, I was 4 at the time, but just, you know, I understood like the severity of the situation. So that I'm so glad you're on with us tonight, because that is a cool memory to be a Cardinals fan at that time of being of age, seeing that big of the first playoff win with a kid that's a homegrown talent. I'm getting more into college football, so I've gone to a couple ASU games. So like it's a big fucking deal, and that's really cool.
On that note, I have 2 questions, and I'm going to hold the one that I wanted to ask Joe until last. Well, not really a question, but the first part. But I was on Twitter the other day. Did you guys watch that ASU Utah game?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm sitting there and I'm like, Scadaboo's like, he was already a legend, but I'm like, brother, what? You know? And so I'm going on Twitter to like rave about Scadaboo. Like, I'm like, dude, could you imagine if we draft this dude? And so I'm going to look him up because I see one of his tweets, and I'm like, I know I'm following this dude, but I just need to make sure. And turns out I wasn't following him. You know why I found out I wasn't following him? Because the follow button, it didn't say follow. It said follow back.
Oh shit!
Cam Scadaboo follows me.
Wow.
I'm like, when did this
happen? Big fan of the podcast.
I'm like, oh, when did this happen, man? Like, what? Am I late to the party? Like, what? Like, I was lost for words. I was like, okay, well, this is cool. So that was awesome. I wanted to bring that up, but no, Joe.
You probably saw your NBC conversation and it was like, whoa.
It should be noted, Cam Scadaboo doesn't follow that many people either.
Yeah, no, he follows like maybe 800 people. Like, so to know I'm one of them,
huge deal.
Yeah, I was lost for words.
I wasn't aware we're on with the celebrity right now.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. But yeah, no, but I wanted to ask you, Joe. There was a game, Jake Plummer. I mean, it was something crazy. Like we were down, and it was the fourth quarter. It was the last drive of the game. if I remember correctly, we didn't have like any timeouts, and Jake Plummer just led. It's like one of his most famous drives. He like led this
I think the
methodical
Redskins-
drive down the field, and then we ended up kicking a field goal to win the game. And it's like one of his like most memorable like game-winning drives ever.
I was just looking it up. I was
Man,
at a
remember that.
Washington game where we were down and he threw for however many 100 yards or whatever, and we won by 2. I feel like
that was probably
the
it.
first Jake Plummer game because Joe brought it up. So I was like, I have always remembered this first Jake Plummer game I was ever at, and it was his rookie year against Washington.
I think that's what it was.
Dude, I feel like that might have been it.
Because
Yeah, I
the
don't
whole time you were talking, that's all I could think of was that game.
Right.
Raise
Like
your
I
hand
just
if you
looked up.
rolled it up to watch Jake Plummer play in person.
He's got like 24th quarter comebacks in this
Yeah,
game.
hell yeah.
Isn't that
Snake.
crazy?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that is wild.
it was so exciting. Yeah, he was exciting to watch. He wasn't a great NFL quarterback
he was
in
wild.
the big
Yeah.
picture, but he was so exciting.
It was a good story. But
Yeah.
on that note, like, how are we feeling about Scadaboo though? Like, I would lose my mind if he came to the Cardinals. Like, personally, could you imagine him and James Conner
You know
just
who I want?
abusing defenses?
We know you want Genty.
I want Ashton fucking Jaunty.
Is it
Yeah,
Genty? I thought it was Genty.
I don't know.
I like
That's
it.
Colby's guy.
I like it, but let's be real. If he keeps the pace he's at, he's going top 5. Not to say that we might not end up with a top 5 pick, but like me personally, if I got to pick the 2 offensive players we go after this year, I really want Egbuka, if that's how you pronounce his name, from Ohio State. But man, number 1 on my board right now is Cam Scadaboo.
And I feel like Scadaboo will drop in the draft just because he's not a big guy. He's not a super, super fast guy. Like, he is literally all heart. You watch him, man, and he'll drag a pile fucking 5 yards, no doubt. But
I can
No, I
see
like
him as like
Trey.
a use check kind
with
of
how
like
hard he
fullback.
runs with James Conner, how hard he runs, then you add a Trey Benson because James Conner's not going to be here forever.
Yeah, and that was my point on Scadaboo is like, at least for now, like Trey Benson. I mean, I don't know. I don't feel like, at least personally, I don't think Trey Benson is the same type of back as Connor and Scadaboo. You know, like, not to say he's not physical, but like those dudes will just they'll kill you straight up. Like, they don't
Those are
care.
bulldozers.
They don't care about CTE. They have no regard for CTE. They could care less. Their brain is gray matter, right? And you need a back like that, like straight up, brother.
Later, folks.
But no, seriously. But like, at the end of the day, not to say that Trey Benson isn't like scrappy. I love Trey Benson. I'm huge on Trey Benson, but you still need that 1-2 punch. You know what I'm saying? And so James Conner's not going to be here forever, you know, and especially if we do not bring back James Conner. I mean, I think Cam Scadaboo, I feel like you always need that one that punches and one that can, you know, go get the long touchdown. I don't know. I think they would be perfect for that.
All right, brothers. Are we ready to close out? Because I have to.
We haven't talked about the game this week.
Or what?
We haven't talked about the Chargers game yet.
Man, I don't want to talk about it. You suck.
Jackie's got a pee. Did you not hear her?
But I mean, we can do our predictions.
Let's predict it. Let's
Yeah,
predict
Do a prediction.
your Arizona Cardinals versus the yoga posing, the highfalutin, the absolutely unmemorable LA Chargers. Who do you have?
Cardinals 17-14.
Damn, low scoring. I can see it though.
We like to run, they like to run, so it's just a matter of who can stop the run.
Mac?
Yeah, I think the Cardinals are going to be. They're similar to after the Washington game. Everyone was freaking out, and they found a way, you know, to come back and battle. And with this coaching staff, with JG, this team has always fought, and no matter whether they've gotten embarrassed the week before or not, I do feel like they're going to fight. This is going to be a tough, hard-nosed game. I think Jackie's on the right track. It's going to be low scoring more than not. But I will go Cardinals 20-17.
Jordan.
I'm gonna go Cardinals, obviously, and I think we are gonna win 35-27.
God damn.
Oh, you think it's gonna be a high scoring game? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I
Okay,
mean,
we
just look
go.
at it. Every time we get blown out, I mean, we always respond.
Joe.
I think the Cardinals are going to be really hard to pick week in week out because what we talked about earlier, how volatile they're going to be with the young talent, and they're going to get beat up one week and then they're going to do something nice the next week. I'm going to go with a win. They're at home, 28-24.
28-24. I like it.
Okay, I have to consult the orbs. I've got to read the tea
Yeah, we
leaves.
know you're gonna pick them to lose, so
Nostradamus
it's fine.
in the house. I don't feel confident about this. We're coming in off a pretty dreadful loss. The sauce that we had last year, we were talking about the most scrappy 4-win team to ever play or whatever. I feel like that's just gone. I feel like we don't have that same level of scrap anymore. We're also wearing those black jerseys, which are a fucking curse. I don't like them. We need to stop wearing them. I don't think we've ever won a game in them.
We beat the shit out of the Saints on Thursday Night Football in our blacks.
And I
Okay,
was there
but
for that. It was great.
Okay, but that barely counts.
Barely counts.
All right. I have the Chargers winning 24-10.
Okay.
And to answer my brother's question, no, I'm not cold on Trey Benson just yet. He's a rookie. A lot of
I
people
said
put that
warm.
fumble on him, which it probably was on him. Pulled his eyes off. You got to see that in there. But there's a lot to go through as a rookie, a backup. You only have a short amount of time to kind of impress. But I still like Trey Benson moving forward. If we can team, James Conner's not going to be here forever. We all say, re-sign him and extend him. But I mean, for the way he runs, I'll give him 2 more years really to be as effective. I mean, I feel like he'll always be a good third down back that you want, but you want him to be your workhorse back 3 years from now? Probably not. Just the way the NFL is. So I'm not cold on Trey Benson. This whole offense seems a little bit stagnant. So whatever it be.
And it's not, I don't think right now, granted, it's Trey, Marv, and Tip that got drafted to be our offensive guys coming in early. It's still a learning curve because we've got a new, a first-time offensive coordinator, a guy that's been a first-time offensive coordinator. This is now his not full season, but
Second year, you're still learning.
second year, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's hard to develop guys right now.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things that's gonna take time. Also shout out Maserati Marv because he said we beat the Saints, and that's
That
correct.
was a front flip game.
Yep.
Andy Dalton, fuck you, bitch.
Yeah, shout out Marco Wilson, that the one highlight in his bag. Also, congratulations, dude, Maserati Marv. I saw that you're celebrating, 1,000 Twitter followers. So
Whoop, whoop.
good on you, dude. I love to see people come in and be a positive thing in Cardinals Twitter. It's kind of what we need right now. There's a lot of negatives. There's a lot of big platform people that like to shit on the team and bitch constantly. So
Yeah, I'm really negative, honestly.
No, you were like and that I was gonna mention that earlier. It's like you've been just a constant positive in the community. So I just want to shout out all the people in the community that don't necessarily like create content, but they're on Twitter, boots on the ground.
Who are big fans.
That are big fans and put out, good tweets.
Into
Good interaction.
Maserati Marv's, question. How do we feel about Zay Jones? I'm not the biggest Zay Jones fans, but he had a big year 2 years ago. He's only caught over 50 passes twice in his career. But to see him, he's scored a lot of touchdowns. He knows how to get in the end zone. I believe he had 7 touchdowns. I could be wrong. It could be a little bit more than that. Not last year, but the year between the year before that. And for him to come into a room that's really not that defined. I mean, has Michael Wilson really, really earned 100% snaps? Greg Dortch, like I mentioned, is averaging, I believe, he's under 200 yards on the season. So he's averaging less than 30 yards a game. And any help we can get to that wide receiver room, I mean, I'm all for. And he's got a history where to be honest, Marv Harrison is a rookie. I mean, that's all just you're going into a season. You could depend on him, but as a rookie wide receiver, not a lot of those guys super just pop off right away. Michael Wilson's year 2, missed some time last year as a rookie. You're coming in year 2. I don't think he's solidified himself as a future definite cornerstone. I think that there are some things that he scored a touchdown last week, but you have 2 catches, 21 yards. And we all love Greg Dortch, but I feel like Greg Dortch, like Joe said, he's also that type of Dennis Gardeck on the offense. Dennis Gardeck and Greg Dortch, they feel like similar guys who are going to work their ass off, guys who are in a pinch that you're going to give them an opportunity, and they'll probably produce an opportunity, but can they do it for a full season? So I'm all for seeing what Zay Jones might be able to provide for this offense.
I like it. I mean, at the end of the day, Zay Jones is like, you can throw him in the slot, you can put him outside. So at the end of the day, kind of to your point, Mac, like, Michael Wilson and Greg Dortch, they're not very consistent producers. They can produce, but they're not consistently doing it. So like, if one of them's cold one game, you'll feel comfortable throwing Zay in to kind of pick up the slack where they might be dropping it. So I'm gonna be real with Zay Jones in here, straight up, 10 toes in. I'm standing on business with this wide receiver room.
Hell yeah! Any thoughts?
I just want to jump in on that. The Zay Jones. Zay Jones is a nice player, and I think he makes it wide receiver room better. I like him better than a Zach Pascal or what have you. But I'm normally the voice of optimism, but I'm gonna throw a little cold water on this. Like, no one is feasting in this passing game right now, and we have players, good players, McBride, Marvin Harrison Jr., who've had their moments, but they're not feasting. I don't think Zay Jones is, until Drew Petzing does some things differently, Zay Jones isn't enough of a difference maker to fix that by himself. He's a nice player and he'll make some nice plays. I'm glad he's in the room, but they got to fix what they're doing in the passing game for what Zay Jones brings to make enough of a difference, in my opinion.
Week in, week out, this is a feast or famine offense. There's no real in between, and it's very, very frustrating. I will say I am starting both Josh Herbert and J.K. Dobbins.
Josh Herbert? Who's that?
Justin Herbert and Josh Dobbs. J.K. Dobbins.
Dude, kick this guy out. What are we? Will, what are you doing, brother?
Hey, who's been drinking? Who's been drinking tonight?
Will, what are you, 16? What's going on here? I don't know.
I'm starting Justin Herbert and J.K. Dobbs this week.
It's not Dobbs, bro.
Motherfucker, I'm tired.
J.K. Dobbins.
You are on the East Coast.
He's starting Dobby the household. That's what
this dude didn't tear his Achilles and ACL 10 times for you to get his name wrong.
Right.
You can barely walk, and you don't give him the respect of saying his name right. Like,
I've got Josh Allen on my bench.
Oh my gosh!
He's
Are you
got
sure it's
Joe
Josh
Burrow
Allen,
on
or
his
is there
bench.
another one out there?
Fuck
We
you.
need to go. We gotta go. We'll drop.
Oh man!
Jackson, so bad.
Josh Herbert. No, fuck it. I meant Josh Dobbins. No, fuck.
Khalil Herbert.
You guys are all ganging up on me. Fuck.
He
Will
left,
left.
dude.
Did Will
Oh
leave?
well.
We're sorry, Will. We'll be nice.
I love you, Will. You can't hear me because you're gone, but I love you.
And we love everybody that tuned in tonight. This was a benchmark in our.
Oh, he's back, William.
I legitimately didn't mean to press that. I thought
We're sorry, Will. We'll be nice.
No, I get it.
Oh
Your
my
tear
God.
accidentally made you leave. It clicked you out of the session.
That's
You're
a
a tear.
ratless dog shit. Holy fuck.
All right, we gotta go.
we got to close out.
Yep.
This has been another spectacular episode of the Redbird Redzone podcast. My name is Will. You can find me on Twitter at LiveOnThatSwing.
Yo, I'm Mac. Thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate each and every one of you. And we thank you, Jordan and Joe, for coming on here for a 100th episode. You can find me on Twitter at AZ Sports Theme. That's FIEN.
And I'm Jackie. You can find me on Twitter if you're not watching on Twitter at. I was gonna say live on that swing.
You always do that shit.
I always do that. I'm at J San Diego. That is spelled with 2 O's. I appreciate each and every one of you that has joined in.
I think it's because you're
Sorry,
feeling
it
from
gets
your
all about
closet.
it.
You're inside your closet. Your
I'm
mind is
inside my
trapped.
closet. I'm in hell. I have to urinate because I have mom bladder,
Jackie's in the closet.
Hey,
and
yo.
it's coming out. I'm
Colby?
kidding. Colby, where are you at? All right, but yeah, that's me. Go on.
Is it my turn or Joe's?
Yeah.
It's your turn, dude.
Oh, okay. All right. You know, I don't live here. I don't know. You know, my name's Jordan. You can find me on Twitter at McManus642. I love you. I love all of you. Peace and positivity. We need to spread the love. I know that it's frustrating. We're having a hard year, but at the end of the day, we need to stick together. So we're gonna be good, guys.
I'm Joe. You can find me on YouTube at The Cardinal Rule. You can find me on Twitter at JOKOMO13, JoeCamo13. It's a play on my name. And I want to just kind of reiterate what Jordan's saying about the positivity. Sports is really about the relationships and the memories. Wins make that better, but win or lose, we meet awesome people like all the folks in here who have, you know, some of whom I've built friendships with over the last couple of years. And remember, that's the main thing. So when you're down about the Cardinals losing, just remember the relationships you've built, the memories. We all shared stories, right? Remember those things, because that's what sports is really about.
Absolutely. And I am glad to have met each and every one of you on this journey. I never would have imagined when I was talking about, oh yeah, we got Josh Rosen, we're going 9-7. I would have never imagined that I'd have this community, that I'd have these people around me. And I cannot stress this enough. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I love each and every fucking one of you. You guys are all ballers.
We love you guys. We
I love you, Willie.
are out. I'm ending the stream. Continue. Come
Peace.
on.
Thank you guys.
Help. End.